Marketing is about growing a pool of fishes where you will continually have an abundance of fishes to catch in the long term. From the company's point of view, yes, it's understandable. Every business wants to be sustainable, but for them to be sustainable, they have to make money right now. And while doing that, thinking about the long term to see, okay, how's our perception in the market? A lot of times, people view marketing as that arm of the business that only comes in after we are done. Yes, it's time to go to market. Hey, marketing guys, let's go. You know, that's not exactly how it is. If you're building a product for a market segment, you need to involve the marketing team from the beginning because
Hi everyone, my name is Titilope and welcome to the Journey to CISO podcast. If you're new here, subscribe. If you subscribe but then yet to turn on your push notification, do that right away so you don't miss all of the exciting episodes that we have coming. Welcome to another episode of Journey to CISO podcast, and with me today I have Joel, a very interesting guest that I'm excited to chat with today. We don't want you to listen alone. Engage, share your thoughts with us. We want to read your thoughts, want to read your questions as you go through this episode with us. Hi Joe, how are you doing today?
Hi Titi, nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. We wanted to do this since...
Yeah, it's been the longest time.
Yeah.
But it's actually exciting to be here today.
I'm excited that you're here, and I'm glad that I know your team will be excited as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, before we get into all of this, we've reviewed your journey and looks super interesting.
Okay.
But then before we get into the leadership bit, before we get into, all of those sophisticated things, we want to meet you. Who's Joel?
Okay.
Beyond the titles, beyond the
titles.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Joel Aderinto. I'm the third child of 5 children.
Okay.
Grew up in Lagos. Spent most of my life here in Lagos. I'll say that I'm quite a very interesting person. Personally, if I say so myself, I love music.
Nice. What kind?
Yeah, gospel music especially. So.
Okay.
I grew up playing the keyboard and loving to sing as well. So that's something that you will always catch me doing outside of work, you know. Yeah, so, that's who I am. I'm a family man, I have kids. And actually do love to travel and meet new people and also love to read as well. So, yeah.
So, getting into your professional life, what drew you into marketing? And at what point did you see it as a pathway to business leadership?
So to be very honest, I'll say that I never thought I was going to get into this line of work in terms of marketing or even sales. My background was in the medical sciences. I studied biochemistry in uni, and almost immediately after I was done and finished my National Youth Service Corps, I was looking for a job. Now, one of those career paths that are available for people like myself who studied probably biochemistry or microbiology is working as a pharmaceutical sales rep.
True.
Okay, so I did apply to a pharmaceutical company and then got into this role as a pharmaceutical sales representative in Lagos. And that was like it hit me like a bang, like I was not ready for this, if you know what I mean. So that was almost my first experience in sales, actually. But I saw beyond that because, in pharma sales and marketing, what you really are after are the targets. You have to find a way to meet up with the targets and stuff like that. But within that, I saw an opportunity for me to explore the marketing side of things. So I began to develop myself. I began to take on initiatives to kind of drive adoption of products. I was getting involved in product management, in pharma and stuff like that, contributing to product launches, strategies and all those kinds of things. And that, I think, was how I began to delve into marketing. Okay, I did that for a while, and then I stepped up the rank a little bit, became like an area manager in the West. Had about 6-7 states under my purview that I was managing. And I had a couple of reps who were now reporting to me, But as time went on, I think that the experiences I'd gained running campaigns and marketing drew me back to the head office. So I was now kind of made the head of marketing support for the organization in Nigeria and given additional responsibility for me to manage our business in Ghana as well. So that was how I kind of delved into running marketing.
That's an interesting journey. Sounds a bit familiar, especially when it comes to any line of study in the medical space that is not medical doctor.
That is not doctor or nurse.
Yes, or nurse. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of times, you come out of school and then because of the limited options, you are at loss, what to do, which way to go. Especially if you don't have maybe underlying interests during uni or right after uni, and it's a trend that I have seen. I do hope that changes in the next few years because we need our microbiologists.
Yeah, we do.
Biochemists.
We do. I mean, back in uni, one of the things they'll tell you is, if you study biochemistry, you can work anywhere.
Yes.
You hear this kind of, you can work anywhere, you can fit into any industry. But I always ask myself, like, okay, so where can I
work now?
Where can I work like right now? And there was no opportunity for us to learn things like sales, marketing. Even for people who are pharmacists, for example, who studied pharmacy in uni. Most of them come out of school. Some of them have aspirations of running their own pharmacy. I always ask, do they teach you how to run a pharmacy, how to build a pharmacy, how to run a pharmaceutical business, like the business side of doing this? Were you taught in uni? So I think that gap actually exists, not just for people who study biochemistry, but for certain other kinds of fields as well.
Very correct. Absolutely correct. I'm really curious. Did you intentionally stay in your industry, health? Or couldn't you have just delved into another industry, say fintech? Did you intentionally stay in health? Or it just happened?
I think it just happened because, so if I look at my career journey, to be very honest, I think that I was more curious to learn. Okay, and being in pharma, first off, I didn't want to be there for too long, quite honestly. I wanted to move, whether move from company to company or move from there elsewhere. Okay, but there were growth opportunities for me within the organization. Okay, and every opportunity was one for me to learn. And I feel that anyone who's starting out their career, one of the primary things you need to pay attention to is, am I learning where I am? Okay, am I growing where I am? So good enough, the company I worked with, I joined them in 2010. The company was new in Nigeria. So at the time, maybe all of us members of the staff, maybe we're not up to 15 at the time, and I stayed on at the company for about 8+ years. And at the time I was leaving, this company has grown to over 150 people. Okay, so what that meant was, starting out with that kind of organization meant that as the company grew, then you also have opportunities to also grow. Of course, as you demonstrate value and show that you have value to also contribute. So I think that just kind of made me stay. I spent about 8 years, like I said, in it. And then, of course, I now pivoted into tech, where I am in a health tech company as well, also health. Have I thought about moving out of healthcare? Not really, to be very honest. I think that healthcare affects all of us.
Yes.
It's one sector that you interact with from birth to death.
Accurate.
So if I think about it, to be honest, I could have probably delved into maybe food, because I studied biochemistry, maybe FMCG, doing the same thing, being a sales manager or something like that. But I just felt, healthcare is okay for me.
That's really interesting. Would you say this is that small decision that you made? Because you referred to, making decisions about your career from the standpoint of, am I learning in this role? Is this role challenging me enough?
Yes.
There's a new opportunity.
Yeah.
Am I deciding to stay because it's helping me learn?
Yeah.
Would you say this is the small decision that affected how your career journey, went? Or are there other things that you like to point to?
Well, I think just staying on to grow. For some people, they would move across industries or move across organizations. Okay, I think just really knowing what would work for you is fine. So first off, are you in a place where they are intentional about your growth? Are there
I agree with you.
opportunities for you to grow? So if you're in an organization where it looks like if I'm here the next 10 years, nothing is going to change, okay, then that now gives you, I mean, you begin to have ideas of, okay, I need to move out of here, you know. But like I said, the company was young at the time. I saw an opportunity to learn how to grow a company.
Yes,
Do you
that is very
understand?
key.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got to learn how do you grow a company. So if I look at the organization, as it was quite a small company, and then we grew it both in number, staff, and also in revenue. That for me was a very good reason for me to hang on that much, to learn as much as I could, and then take it to the
Somewhere
next
else.
place where it
And
was.
build a track record.
Exactly,
Fantastic.
exactly.
You have a very solid background in marketing, and then that was your springboard to leadership.
Yeah,
And you've stayed somewhere around there for a while
Yeah.
before you got into central management.
yeah.
A lot of organizations, while we know on textbook that marketing is extremely essential for business growth, in real life there are moments, and not to their fault, a moments where they just see marketing as a cost center. This is a conversation that goes on online a lot, especially between professionals online. When professionals are talking about their work and how it's not being appreciated, especially in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We don't appreciate marketing.
Yeah.
But then you can't blame these business owners for seeing it
Yes.
as a cost center.
Yes.
You're always collecting
Money.
resources and all of this, and it is not reflecting on my numbers.
Yes.
You say it's long term, but if my company dies before the long term comes,
What's going
is
to
there
happen?
something to?
I get
So
it.
both sides have interesting conversations,
Yes.
and both sides have interesting and very interesting points.
Mm.
For you, what is your take? What is your from your experience? How would you undo that
Okay.
conversation? That thought?
So I'll say that from a company's point of view, they are right, or they could be right,
Yeah.
because most times when marketers themselves put up budgets for marketing and they present this to the leadership or to the board, it's always, oh, we want to grow our followers, or we want to increase the number of those that are viewing our blog post, or just like vanity metrics. You're not very specific on how does that really
Do I take this to the
relate.
bank?
Exactly. What am I going to do with 1,000 followers? So we organize an event and we have 500 people in attendance. Okay, so
What happened after that?
what happened after that? Do you understand? So both from the marketers themselves and from the organization themselves, both of them need to understand that marketing is always like a long-term play. Okay, there's the aspect of it that has to do with branding. How
Always?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a long-term play. I mean, that's my own view. So you have to think about the brand that you're building and how the effort you're putting into marketing would sustain that brand long-term. Now, what organizations are looking for, or what CEOs are looking for, is okay. So yes, we have a long-term plan, but in the immediate, how is that giving us revenue in the short term? Okay, so marketers have to balance both. Okay, you have to look at short-term strategies that can help you kind of get
Quick
quick wins. Exactly. While not neglecting the fact that this is going to be like because it's like you want to catch a fish. You go to the pool and you have just one hook and line. You throw it in, you can only catch one fish at a time. Okay, that's what a CEO is thinking. Did you catch a fish? Yes or no?
Yes, no.
Do you understand?
Want to
However,
pay salaries.
marketing is about growing a pool of fishes, okay, where you will continually have an abundance of fishes to catch in the long term. Do you get what I mean? So ultimately, it has to be a balance of both, okay? The marketers themselves, a lot of times, they're always at fault because they're always talking about like vain and vanity metrics, talking about followers, talking about, oh, we had this number of additions to our, or number of people that viewed our blog. So what happens next? How does that tie to revenue? How does that give me marketing qualified
opportunities.
leads? Like, what kind of opportunities are giving to me? What kind of, what's coming out of this? That's always the big question. Okay, there's always a question of ROI, and what's the lifetime value of the customer, and all of those. So from a company's point of view, yes, it's understandable. Every business wants to be sustainable, but for them to be sustainable, they have to make money right now. They have to serve a client base. They have to generate revenue right now. And while doing that, thinking about the long term to see, okay, how's our perception in the market? If you have a customer who's using, say, a product that you've built, is that customer enjoying your product enough to refer it to somebody else? Okay. How is that looking like generally? So that's my thought about that.
I really like that we're having this conversation because I think this is the first time that I'm having a market conversation with a business executive. And this is really important to me because for professionals, it's extremely important for you to not just view your work from your own lens or from the lens of your colleagues, but then how it is seen as a business outcome.
Yes.
I'm sure you didn't have this mentality from the beginning of your career.
No.
At what point did this shift?
I think at the point where it was clear that the revenue became a thing, we definitely had to start making
money now.
Okay, so like I said, the organization was a young company, and if you're starting out very new, you set aside some money to say, okay, let's use this to, push our brand. We'll do lots of product launches because you're new in the market. It was a pharmaceutical company. You know how it is with medications and patients. Patients are tied to brands. Okay.
True.
If, for example, you go to I don't want to mention any brand on this show because it's not fit for marketing. So say you go to a pharmacy and you want to buy a particular medicine, you probably have an idea what it is you want. Or if it's a patient who's been using a recurring medication, they go with the packs of what they want to buy. Okay, they will show it to you to say, okay, I want this.
one.
There's also this one. You can try to pitch it to them and say, it's even better, it's cheaper. Don't worry, just give me this one that I've come with. Okay, so then for a company that comes into the market newly, you know that you're already up against several brands out there that are established, trusted. So where do you even start from? So definitely you have to put some money into the game, do a lot of launches. You have to talk to doctors, knock on doors, get the prescribers' confidence. That's those who prescribe these medications. Get their confidence, and it's just a lot of things to do. So at that point in time, yes, you have to do a lot of spending. Your marketing spend has to increase. But it comes to a point where now we have to get returns. And I think it was at that point that hit me, okay, yes. So now we have to start showing the results of all the grammar that you've been speaking, of all the launches you've been doing, of all the things you've executed. It now has to show. So I think it was at that point that, okay, now we have to focus on how do we tie all of this marketing spend into actual results, actual outcomes for the organization. And that was where the shift happened.
Is it being spontaneous in the health space when it comes to building brand perception, building messaging, all of those things? Given that it's a somewhat regulated.
That's exactly what I was coming to. So yes, it is very regulated. For medications, I don't know if this is now almost becoming a pharmaceutical conversation.
This is cool.
But for medications, there are those classes of medications that we call ethical medications or ethical drugs. And then we have the ones we call the over-the-counter drugs. Okay, so the ethical drugs are the ones that you cannot just walk into a pharmacy to say, I want to buy this. It has to come with a doctor's prescription. Okay. However, they are the ones that are like OTCs. We call them OTCs, over-the-counter medication, paracetamol, pain relievers that you can just go there and get. Now, for both of them, there's a lot of regulation as to how you can even market them. Okay. So you have to be very creative in running those kinds of advertisements. So at a point in the organization, we had this particular medication that was supposed to aid weight loss. Okay, I think it's still in the market, and then we're thinking about running some online campaigns, for that particular medication. So, and I was in charge of doing that. Okay, now, we're going to use Facebook, which was like the most popular platform at the time, to do that because, of course, we had a lot of followers. You had to put out a lot of content and stuff like that. Severally, our ads would get banned by Facebook because, initially we didn't know. Of course, initially you put out a post of somebody who is plump on the big side, and then now you're doing before and after. So they're like, oh no, you cannot show the skin, you cannot do this, you can't do that, And also from a regulatory point of view as well, was really quite tough doing that. But I think working with those who handle compliance in your organization is really very key. They're not there to stop you from doing what you need to do.
Guide.
They're supposed to be there to guide you, okay? And there are many ways to go around that, to be very honest. I think in my opinion, what I think has really worked is doing some kind of piloting, to test your messaging, to test the kind of campaigns that you want to run. So you can do that with small groups, small communities, Facebook communities, where you have like a group of 50, 100 people on there whom, they are your people. Okay, so you want to test those kind of messaging, test those kinds of things before you then go public with those. So regulation is very, very, it's very keen, like kind of industry where I'm in, but you have to find innovative ways around it to still put forth your messaging without being clamped down.
That's very interesting. No matter how regulated and how much you have compliance team to guide, there are times that you're creative now. There are times that you are very convinced that there is this idea, and while it's not the regular thing that you do in the organization, but you're for some reason you're very convinced, your intuition, everything is on green, that this is something that is going to work. Have you ever had such moments? If you're going further,
I have seen such moments.
Okay, good.
I have seen such moments.
How, for people who are in shoes like this, highly regulated industry,
yes.
There is a pattern to how you push our creative in the organization.
Yes.
But then you had your Albert Einstein moment.
Yes.
And then you had this very interesting idea that, while you might be able to find your way around, the general compliance, within the organization, you might have a very tough time, pushing it because it's not the usual. How do you successfully push that, again, given the constraints of the kind of organization that you work with?
So, like I said, I haven't particularly had that kind of experience, but I have seen a couple of those. At the end of the day, you have to subject whatever it is that you want to do to scrutiny. Okay, to be very honest. I don't know if I want to mention this on your podcast, but I saw an ad one time that I think ended up being an issue around insensitivity. I don't want to say specifically, but it was around a particular season that is celebrated by a group of people, a particular religion in Nigeria, and then someone thought it was okay to use that period to talk about, to push a particular message in a way that was very insensitive. The truth is, you'll be doing a lot of damage control.
You spend more on damage
You
control.
will spend more on damage control than you would if you had allowed that to go through proper scrutiny. Okay, so in heavily regulated industries, healthcare, finance, even people who do alcohol and stuff like that, you can't just wake up one morning and feel like you want to use a young child to promote.
Oh, no, that's outrageous.
Do you understand what I'm saying? No matter how your Einstein moment comes, you still have to make sure that it's within the four walls and within the confines of regulation. So you have to stay abreast of what is acceptable and what is not within your industry. Like I said, at that time, I didn't even know that if you put out an ad and then someone's skin or too much body is showing, and that becomes a problem. But it was not even anything too much. It was just a lady who was coming back from the gym. You know what ladies wear to the gym, and then had this staple around her waist that showed that she had a very slim waistline. But that was not appropriate, okay? So familiarizing yourself with what the regulation is within your industry is very, very key, okay? If you're not so familiar, talk to those who are in compliance. They'll tell you what it is. And at the time when you get your Einstein's moment, run it by someone and be sure that it can actually fly. Else you'll be spending more in damage control than it is in marketing.
Accurate. You've mentioned, pilot testing, your ideas, and then starting with a small group, get feedback, tweak, before you put out.
Yeah.
Are there other ways that you've been able to successfully, as a business leader, do more with less in getting your business idea out there, getting innovations out there?
I mean, first I'll say, so if you have a set of clients who are your best clients, okay, so you want to do an analysis of your clients currently and look at what are the top 20% of my clientele, and then analyze them. What are they? What strikes them? What do they like? What are they listening to? Giving them a better experience is good for me because I can leverage on them to grow my business through referrals. Okay, offering them things like referral bonuses if they refer my business to someone is a very easy, almost cheap way of getting your business across to them, because they are in communities of like-minded people that would also patronize my business. So I'll give you an example. Say I run a tech business that empowers pharmacies, that provides them with softwares that they need, okay, to run their everyday business. Okay, and say I have maybe like 100 pharmacies already on my platform who are using it. Now, the top 20, the ones who keep coming back, who subscribe all the time, the ones who give me good feedback, I want to analyze them, okay, to see, okay, these guys who are enjoying the use of my solution, what do they like about it? How can I improve my service for them, okay, in a way that they are now confident enough to go and talk about, oh, this guy's solution is very good. Okay, because those guys are on several WhatsApp groups with other pharmacy owners. They have associations. Nigerians, we have lots of associations. Association of pharmacy, association of this. Then associations where they talk about things. Okay, so leveraging that alone can help me buy into segments or other clients who are not necessarily my clients for now. And I can leverage their referrals to actually grow my business. I can also think about partnerships. Okay, if I understand who these guys are, what other businesses do they patronize? Okay, if I identify those businesses, I can talk to them and see how we can collaborate to, if you promote my business, I can promote your business as well. These are like very easy ways to get around doing more with less.
All of the things that you spoke about is very useful for a company that already has some level of standing, some clients. You talked about joining a company that was super new in the country.
Yes.
For that kind of organization, what can they do?
So those who are in the company need to come with some form of reputation. To start a business in Nigeria, you really don't need to start a business anywhere. I don't think you really need. It's not just financial capital that is required. There's some form of social capital as well.
Yes.
And social capital, you can get it from like maybe people that you've worked with in the past, or people that know you in the past, or things like that. You can leverage some form of social capital to kind of start off your business, because to get the first, so if you're new and you're looking to get your first business at all, somebody's going to have to refer you to someone. Okay, so our company, for example, when we began it many years ago, nobody knew us. Nobody knew the product was, in fact, people couldn't even pronounce the name of the product, but the people who began the company, they'd worked elsewhere. They worked in places before.
And they're able to pull that.
Exactly. So there were already doctors who knew them. So we had to kind of leverage their personal reputation to say, hey, I used to work in this previous place before. Oh, now I work here. Oh, you knew me from that place, but here we are with this new thing and stuff like that. I'll still come back to the piloting, because that's exactly what we had to do. To say, okay, so we have this new molecule for your patients who are diabetic. How about we give you some samples? Okay, so sampling, for example. How about we give you some samples free? We are not asking you to pay for it. Okay, we give you some free samples, try it out, let your patients try it, and then let us know what the feedback is. So it became their own experience with their patients. When patients come in to the doctor's clinic, they're like, hey, welcome to our clinic today. There's this company that is launching this new product. Is actually what I want to prescribe for you. You're not going to pay for it. It's going to come to you for free. Are you willing to have it? Doctor, whatever you say, what do you think? It's a good product. Go and try it. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll review your maybe your test result or something. And then the patient takes it, goes, after 2 weeks or a month, they come back and they are stabilized. So we've used one molecule to capture both the doctor and the patient, because now the patient has that pack to go back to the pharmacy to say, I've used this, so it's okay. My doctor said I should be using this. And that was how we were able to gradually build our reputation until we now had like tons of patients who were using the molecules. We had tons of doctors who now had the confidence to prescribe. You know, because the doctor does not want the patient to come back and say, doctor, that thing you gave me did not work. That's not what, no doctor wants to hear that from any patient. That thing you gave me, or when I came here the last time, I wasn't even feeling better. Do you understand? So with that kind of sampling, okay, we're able to kill two birds with one stone.
Very interesting. You've moved from, different roles to now a strategy role, a business management role. What do you, in your opinion, according to your own journey, how would you say C-suite readiness requires?
It requires a lot of learning before you get into it. I think you have to pay the price of learning, one way or the other.
Learning what exactly?
So, understanding how a business runs, understanding the business acumen, knowing how to analyze and interpret numbers. I think that's one very, very key. The use of data to make decisions. Okay, so I think one of the things that helped me starting out was, while I was still at the lower cadre of my career, did I think I was going to get here? Honestly, I just felt, okay, as time goes on, we see where life takes us. Okay, but I think one of the things that helped me was the relationship I had with my managers, or like the top management. I was able to help provide some beyond my rep duties for them. So I was doing a lot of data work. Okay, so I was helping them to analyze data, for example, okay, from what the reps were doing. Okay, so maybe from sales of the reps, from the reps' activities, and what the reps were up to. I would take those data, interpret it, put it in a nice way to represent it for them, to be able to say, okay, this is what this looks like. This is what this is what we need to do. Now, that experience of working with them around the data that the reps are generating and how we're using that data to make informed decision was one of the key things that helped me know how to spot opportunities when I see a data set. Okay, so I now understand what certain data mean, okay, and what that meant for the business.
For the business.
Do you understand? So that's one very crucial thing that you would need, because, as a C-level person, you're working with a lot of data. You need to understand how to interpret that. You also need some form of discipline and determination, obviously, okay, to be able to get out there and, turn a business around or build a business from scratch, and things like that. So, yeah.
Now, you're in a strategy role, and your work definitely cuts across every single department. There is no department that has monopoly on innovation, on strategy. Yes. How are you able to, achieve the business outcomes that you want to achieve with all of these numerous departments in the organization? So
first, I understand what the objective of the company is. Okay, whether it's a maybe 5-year objective, 3-year objective of where we want to be or what position we want to be, I fully understand it. Okay, now you've kind of given a hint to the answer, because you can't work alone. If you occupy this kind of role, you have to collaborate with other members of other teams. So you have the sales team, you have the marketing team, you have the product team. Yeah. Okay, I think one thing I also probably skipped to mention is that a lot of times people view marketing as that arm of the business that only comes in after we are done. Yes, it's time to go to market. Hey, marketing guys, let's go. That's not exactly how it is. If you're building a product for a market segment, you need to involve the marketing team from the beginning, because there's some form of market analysis they're supposed to conduct. Okay, to even tell you whether the market needs that product or not, before you go out there to build a product that nobody actually wants, or that the market would interpret for you differently.
Sure, that's the worst one.
Do you understand? I'm trying to remember this product. It's a medicine actually. I mean, if I mention a lot of us, we know it. The people who brought in the product brought it in as an antihypertensive.
But now it's being used for other things.
But that drug now is being used for other things. I don't want to
There's
mention.
one of drugs like that I can't even think of on the top of my head.
Yes, there are molecules like that. Okay, so if you don't involve your marketing team, who would help you craft that marketing strategy, how do we position this product? Because if you don't position rightly, people will position your
Product for you.
for you. They'll tell you what they think this based on
Their own experience.
God bless you.
And what else would surpass that?
Exactly. So they tell you, no, this thing does this, but that's not what you created it for. So you have to collaborate with every member of the team. Okay. So I get on product meetings, for example. I understand the product roadmap as well. I need to know it for my strategy to work. If not, I'll be aiming for something that my product is not able to fulfill for me. Okay. So I need to talk to the product guys to know, okay, at what point we will get here. Okay, if I want to maybe transition my business model at a point down the line to say, okay, maybe for example, I'm doing a B2B business model where I am serving providers, those who end up serving customers. So for now, it's a B2B model, but I know down the line that at some point I'm going to want to transition from B2B to B2B2C. Okay, so I just don't want to serve these providers alone. I want to serve the customers whom they also serve. So I need a product that will help me do that. All right. So let me give you an example. So I've been using pharmacies all along.
It's okay.
So say I have a solution that pharmacies use to dispense medication. Patient walks into the pharmacy, pharmacist gets the prescription, searches for it, and dispense that medicine to the patient. However, that solution is an inventory solution. It keeps a track of how many of these ABC products do I have before? How many do I have now? What's the expiry date? It helps me manage my pharmacy. But as the provider of that technology, I also want to give your patients a tool to say that you don't have to come to the pharmacy to order a medication. You can do it on your phone. So you see, I want to transition my business model from a B2B to B2C. So what that means is the solution I have right now is the one that pharmacies are just using or hospitals are just using. Whereas I'm looking for a solution that I'll put in the hands of patients. I need to work with my product guys to say, hey, fine, we have this lovely solution. At what point can we get a solution ready that we can put in the hands of patients? Or how are we thinking about providing, what kind of tools are we thinking about to give to the patients to be able to access this? So if I say, okay, let's do an app, which is the normal thing most people build. You want to build an app upfront, okay? Yeah, apps, great. But there are people who don't use smartphones, for example. How do we want to digitally include those people so that they also can maybe book an appointment to a clinic or do something like that? So you start thinking, okay, can we do USSD? Yeah. God bless you. So that's what, as a strategy person, that collaboration would help me to achieve. Because if I take the app to the market and we find that only 30% of the people that we took it to even know how to use an app in the first place, then there's a problem. Okay? Because then I've not reached as much of that market that I want to reach. So providing solutions, talking to the product team, talking to my marketing guys who are going to take it to the market, who are going to help me to, make noise about it and get people to download the app. That collaboration is very important.
So when you don't have perfect data, because you talk about being a data person,
yeah,
which is a huge strength.
Yes.
When you're in a position where you don't have perfect data to give you at least some level of guarantee, how do you make decisions?
That's a very tough question. I don't know who said it, but I think I heard it somewhere saying, God we trust, everybody else found with data. Okay, so data is very key, all right? So it could be your own data or secondary data. Okay, data that is not primarily from you, maybe of someone else's experience. Maybe put out questionnaires and ask people to tell you what they think. If I'm building a solution, I don't know, I'm using pharmacies, hospitals, of course, that's where I'm
your line.
To say, hey, what do you think about a solution that can do this? Is that a pain point? Does it really matter? Would you rather a solution that patients can book appointments, or would you rather a solution that patients can use to pay? Which of these matters to you? Was every hospital owner, every business owner, what's their primary aim? Don't forget about it. But yes, they they swear the Hippocratic oath to take care of their patient. But at the end of it, as a hospital owner, what is your core objective? They'll tell you, I want to take care of my patients, want to provide the best services. But if you keep doing it and you're not making money, at the end of the day, what's the point? Do you understand? So we understand that at the foundation of starting out a business is making revenue, and making revenue enough to now be profitable. Okay, if you're not doing that, you're a charity. And it's okay to be a charity. There are hospitals that run as charities. That's, they are mission-led hospitals that provide healthcare for free and all of that. So really understanding what the objectives are, and you can do that by fielding questionnaires, talking to people who've been there. It's also good because then you're not using your own experience or your own experience to learn.
Well, secondary data isn't really 100%. It's not always 100%, like compared to your primary data and your own experience. But then I get what you mean.
So down the line, yes, you can. You can do surveys for yourself and find out. But it's always important to leverage data to make sure that whatever you're doing is data driven. You're not just assuming anything.
Spray and pray.
Because yes, exactly. You spray and then you hope that one of them would germinate or one of them will work.
What's your nuts? Do you have a North Star?
Personally, my North Star
that guides your career decisions.
Yes. So whatever it is that I am doing in my career, it has to serve humanity foundationally. Okay. I consider myself to be at the intersection of business, healthcare, and innovation, and I want to keep it so. Okay. I've thought about maybe delving out of healthcare and all of that, but I feel that that's one of the most important sectors for me that I can immediately see what's that now? Like a transformation. If I deploy or come up with any kind of intervention for public health or public good, for me that's very satisfying, to be honest. So it's to continue to be that.
What do you think we still need to do as a society to build people who can thrive as leaders on global fronts? Because I think there's still so much work for us to do in that aspect here in this side of the world. We have some amazing shining stars, but then compared to our numbers, there's a long way for us to go.
So that's a very interesting question. I think we have to be honest with ourselves. Okay. Many people would find their way into leadership. Some people are, maybe by reason of their upbringing and stuff, they will manage to become something. Okay. But for the vast majority, we have to be deliberate about how we raise people. Okay. The kind of environment that our kids grow in. And I think that's just going to lead me to that conversation, So growing up, I talk about my upbringing, being raised in Lagos and all of that. Talking about the fact I was raised and grew up in Lagos. Just thinking about it right now, the high school I went to, was not particularly the kind of high school that I should have ended up in, saying that, I attended a private primary school. However, the circumstances at the time meant that was where I had to go, myself and my sister. And when I look back and...
So a public secondary school?
A public secondary school. And at that time, the public secondary school did not have a lot of the infrastructure or amenities that you would even think would make for good education, to be very honest. Maybe things have changed now, I don't know. But back then, I could recall that from almost all through my senior year, from SS1 to SS3, we never really had a chemistry teacher, for 3 years, of course.
You studied what again in uni?
Biochemistry.
Okay.
Exactly.
How?
So, exactly. Good, very fair question. So it was almost impossible for any of us to graduate and pass chemistry at the first trial. So someone like myself, I did this severally before I could. And it was always chemistry. It was not physics. It was not maths. Every of my exams, I don't even study for physics. When I wake up in the morning, I go write it and I pass it. But chemistry was always the problem. So if you think about young people, there are young people who actually probably are in that same situation and just thinking about their future and wondering when or how is this going to change. It was a very frustrating experience that I had because a lot of my colleagues were already going into uni. I was staying back because I had to resit an exam over and over and over again, But then, having a very good mindset is very key, the right mindset. I wouldn't say I had people around me who were inspiring me on career-wise, but I think it was just a mindset thing. Also, exposure to books. Okay, so I think immediately I got into university, I immediately loved reading. So I was reading a lot. If I had a rule then, I buy a book a month. Yeah, so I have so I have a very robust library. I was reading very wide, reading a lot of books about finance, about career development, read a lot of Miles Monroe's books and all the, so that kind of shaped my life and gave me an opportunity to know what is possible. Okay, sometimes I smile back when I think about my upbringing. I'm like, how did I ever get to this place? So maybe there's somebody out there who's probably going through the same phase of their life. It may not be at the earliest stage. It may be at the point where your career is just starting out and you're like, how am I going to become anything? Today I travel the world. I'm a UK global talent. I'm a governor of a school in the UK. I'm also contributing to the educational sector. I speak at global events, and all of that. Honestly, a very strong shift in mindset, knowing that this is possible, and listening to podcasts like this also too helps to, drive the aspiration and make it possible.
I'm as you're talking, I'm trying to paint pictures in my head and flashing back the earlier conversation that we had around your background.
Yes.
Comments that you had gotten from your educators.
Yes.
And matching that with the vision today. I know this is not an inspirational, podcast.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
One has to sit and then wonder because sometimes even people that were armed with the best of the best education still struggle through, adulthood, struggle through finding their feet, and then there you are, with barely, proper foundational education, and then here we are today.
Yeah, different story. I think again, there's a lot of discipline that it requires because you have to do more than you are given to do for you to get more than you want.
True.
Okay, so if you wait to say that I would only operate at the level to which I'm rewarded, you've limited yourself in your career already.
You actually get rewarded for things that you did.
Some people don't think that
before,
way. Some people
that you were
not.
Yeah.
Some people will tell you that this is not my JD. Do you understand? This is not exactly. This is outside of my purview. Why are you asking me to do this extra thing? Why? Even though that extra thing is something that you may not know you need for your career, but it's an opportunity for you to learn how to do something else. Because you really don't know the trajectory that your career is going to take. Okay, how did I even pivot into tech? It was a very, very simple story. Like I said, at some point in my career, I think far back 2017, I was now head of marketing support for Nigeria and Ghana for the organization I was working with. So that meant I always shuttled both countries occasionally. On one of my trips to Ghana, I was at the airport, and then I met somebody who I'd never met before, he doesn't know me, I don't know him. Okay, I know him from afar. If I mention he's a very popular guy, and then we had an interaction. I shook hands with him, he made me sit beside him, and then we had a conversation, and that was it. We had a whole long conversation, somebody I had totally not met before in my life, and this person introduced me to the founder of this company where I now work. Just, I think, a very interesting guy. I have a friend who's trying to do something in this area. I think you should talk to him, and maybe you guys can collaborate. And that was it.
See, the truth is, sometimes what you're looking for is hidden inside all the things that you're not ready to do right now.
Exactly. The responsibilities you're not willing to take now.
I believe I'm one of the people that have had the fastest growth when it comes to professional career, your profession. If I look at all of the things that I can attribute to it, they are rooted in service.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Okay, I'll give you another fair point just so that people can understand. There is something in the UK called the UK Global Talent Visa.
Yeah, I know about
that you have to get an endorsement for from Technician, yada, yada, yada. I didn't know about that. In fact, the first time I knew about it, I was watching PC Tini's video because she also is on it, you know. And when I watched the video, I was like, all the requirements I was saying that you need to meet, I have them. But when I thought about it, how did I have them? I had them reluctantly.
Yes.
I'm not joking. The first time I was going to speak at the Lagos Health Summit in 2020, I did not want to speak. I was almost going to pass that responsibility to somebody else to do it. For one time, when my bank reached out to me, sorry, I've mentioned my bank. The bank reached out to me to be a judge on an hackathon that we were going to run. I almost passed it on to somebody else to do. Everything that was the evidence of the work I had done were things I did not necessarily want to do.
Extracurriculars.
I wanted to just say, go and do it, or somebody else go and do it. But at that time, I think probably it was God who was orchestrating things that I did not know, because everything just aligned. So you're very right. The opportunities you are looking for are in the responsibilities that you are grumbling about taking right now.
They're not even your actual responsibilities. Exactly. They're just extras.
Yes, because wherever it is that God is taking you through is necessary for where it's taking you to.
Interesting.
Right.
What's your proudest moment in your career?
In my career,
so far?
I think one of the biggest wins, I'll say, is where I currently work, in the tech startup where I currently work.
What is that?
Thalamus Health. So we're a health technology company. Of course, we provide tech solutions for healthcare businesses. And I think one of my proudest moments was leading my team to execute a major digitization project with Lagos State.
Nice.
Yes, and that's actually in the area that I'm very enthusiastic about, you know. I did my master's in public health in 2011, and
I can tell. You sound like somebody who would.
Yeah, so I mean, and back then, I was really very curious to see like what ways can we help to kind of improve things. There were certain very obvious gaps, access to healthcare and stuff like that. That I'd always just lost idea around how can we make things better? How can we, you know. Some people find it very hard working with government, but you know, government is still the largest provider of healthcare in any country anyway. So really helping to power that from a technology point of view for them. Now, patients now can book appointment with clinics, with primary healthcare centers. They can, you know, things in the centers are now digitized.
That's
no longer
huge.
files and papers. It's now, you walk in there, someone with a tablet or a laptop, you know, and things are very well coordinated. That really makes me feel very proud.
As someone that, you know, manages a company that builds such solutions, I am envisioning that kind of project in my head right now, and I'm like, ooh, that's huge.
It's huge.
My appetite is rising.
It's huge. I mean, it's currently deployed in over 100 primary healthcare centers across Lagos, in all the 20 local governments of Lagos. Very ambitious project.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what would people say about your leadership style?
People will have to say about me. Anyway, I think that I'm a very, I think people would say I'm an inspirational leader.
Why is that your background?
Yes, I think is this me answering on their behalf though? I don't know what they would say, yes, but I think they'll just say I'm a very inspiring leader because I try to be very open with people that I lead. I don't, you know, some leaders will never let you see that they are weak or that they demonstrate some kind of vulnerability. I'm not that kind of person. I let my team know when things are down. I'm quite open with them to let them, hey, we're in this together. And really, my team can tell you that we are always in things together. Okay, so as much as I manage my team, I don't do that so much as a manager. I do that so much as a leader because I'm also like in the forefront of it, leading them to execute whatever. And I also try to inspire my workers as much as possible. I point them in the direction of opportunities. I set them up on platforms to do things for themselves as well. I believe that the world is a very big place.
It is.
And that you will continue to live through people that you have touched. It's more like a legacy thing. Okay, so when you impact people, people learn how to do better. That's how the world becomes a better place. Okay, some people have learned to be a bad boss by being under a bad boss.
True.
Do you understand? So they can't wait to become a manager. I will
they have
show
to
you
do their
people.
own-
Yes, I will
Yeah.
show you guys what it means. Do you think I had it funny when I was growing up? My manager used to do this. These are they used to discipline people, you know. People are waiting for that opportunity, okay? But I don't want to be remembered like that as somebody who, you know, left very wrong impressions on people.
So we're coming to the end of this conversation, and I'm not very happy because I've been having a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah. But before we round up, what other insights do you believe is essential for us to discuss before we leave that we haven't touched on?
Yeah, so I'll say the place of having a good mentor or having a good boss. Okay, so on your journey to CISO, the truth is that the kind of bosses that you have on that journey can either augment or frustrate your journey. Okay, so within your space, within the field that you're in, whether in your organization or outside the organization, you actually need people that you look up to. When people come to me and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this with my life in the future, I almost immediately ask them, do you know anyone who is doing what it is that you want to do or what you want to become? Success is very replicable. It's like principles. They don't respect race or gender. The law of gravity is the law of gravity in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's the law of gravity in America. The law of gravity does not respect you as a citizen or president. It applies wherever you are. It doesn't respect who you are. It doesn't respect it. So I believe that if you want to get ahead, finding people who can be mentors, who can help set your path on the right course, who can guide you, can be very important. Some people are very lucky that they find bosses who end up becoming their mentors, who they look up to, who can guide them within the organization, give them opportunities to grow, allow them to grow. When I mean allow them to grow,
I get what you mean.
like there are bosses who will not even allow their staff take on professional exams, you know, or do courses because...
What?
Yeah, there are.
Because I've seen a lot of, you know,
Yeah, there are.
manifestations of
Yeah,
funny,
you tell
funny
them,
bosses. I've never seen this.
I'm trying to do an MBA or do a master's or something. As once it's going to affect your work, then they don't.
So how
wanna-
do they give you better output?
I don't know. We'll have to ask them. We have to ask them. You know. So find the right boss, getting the right mentorship, having the right people around you that would help you to grow is actually very, very key on your journey.
Thank you very much for
Thank
this
you.
episode.
Thank
This
you very
has
much.
been super interesting. Have you had any experience with, because you mentioned good bosses.
Yes.
Have you had any experience with, you know, bad bosses, and how has it shaped your, you know, your career trajectory? I ask because not everyone is going to be lucky to have good bosses all the time. And now, so people that are listening to this that are not that lucky, what should they do, you know?
I think just be very diligent with your work. Focus on providing value. As a boss, I can tell you that nobody ignores productivity. Nobody ignores results. Do you understand? A very popular saying, no, results cancel insult. Nobody's going to ignore the results. If you're delivering, you're productive, you're adding value to an organization, the truth is your voice cannot be silenced. Okay? If it becomes very toxic, that it's probably having an effect on your mental health, you go to your workplace and then you leave your work, taking home with you sadness to your family, then of course, you've got to leave. Okay, but there are many times when your work will not even be appreciated or recognized. Like you do something, maybe prepare a report for your boss that he then uses to get a reward or something. You know that was you, okay, and you were not mentioned as having contributed to anything or even done it.
Can be heartbreaking.
That can be very heartbreaking, but just continue. One day, everything that you've done, okay, would point you in the direction of the next thing. And it will look as though, I mean, where is all of these things coming from? It's just all the seeds that you have sown, okay, when it's time for your harvest. So maybe not directly had bad experiences with bad bosses, you know, starting out, but people are very different. I focus on my work. I let my work speak for me. Okay, and God has been good.
Nice. I know I said that's the last question, but then I
Yeah.
have one more.
Okay.
For someone who's trying to figure out leadership and hasn't been under a lot of leadership, what's your advice for them?
Read books. Read books. Find opportunities to volunteer as well. Look for opportunities to. So in life, there will always be people ahead of you. There are people at your level, and there will be those below you. Okay, everyone is a leader. I believe that everyone can get an opportunity to demonstrate leadership. Okay, so read books, familiarize yourself with people who are like well-known thought leaders in terms of leadership, people who have demonstrated capacity, competencies in leadership. Read their books, follow their story. The world is a global village right now. What that means is that you can gain insight into what's happening elsewhere. You know, you can learn about people's history and story. Back in the day, when you didn't have the internet,
Where would you have the access?
where would you get access to know what's going on elsewhere? Or how would you even get to know about people's story? But today, there are very many influential voices, very, great people out there who are doing fantastic things with their lives. Listen to their stories, follow them, read their books, and look for an opportunity to volunteer. That's how you also cultivate leadership, by just offering yourself. I do a lot of volunteering as well, too, as busy as my hands can get,
Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you.
This has been a very fun conversation and
you.
most importantly, very insightful.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you have joined us to the very end, I want to say well done. And I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I did. I want to listen to your comments. We want to read your comments. If you want to connect with Joel, we're going to drop his LinkedIn profile link in the description box. You can use it, connect with him, and I'm sure he'll be delighted to engage you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is the Journey to CISO podcast. We share a lot of insightful conversations like this. We share a lot of resources that you need to win and to grow within your organization and in your career journey as a whole. If you love this video, share with your friends, share with your colleagues, share with everyone you know would need this, including your enemies. Don't be selfish. And catch you next time. Bye.